What up, fam? It's your favorite cousin, your favorite nephew, your favorite uncle, your favorite father, your favorite son, your best friend. It's me, Dr. Larry, and welcome to Living For You, the YouTube channel. This is a safe space, a positive place in which we come together and we grow together and we become our better selves, or at least we attempt to grow and learn and become our better selves. For those of you who are my faithful subscribers, thank you for continually come with me every week. I love you beyond love. I love you with the highest love. Those of you who are new subscribers, thank you so much. I love you because now you're family. Welcome to the family. And for those of you who watch, because apparently I have a lot of people who watch who aren't subscribers, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and join the family. This is a great place. This is a positive space. This is where we do what we do. For those of you who are new, I'm Dr. Larry Smith. I am a certified life and spiritual coach. I help my clients to process trauma, but I use different methods and everything, whether it's spiritual aspects that they want, or whether it's just traditional life coaching methods that they want. We use both, and so we try to help them navigate their way through their trauma so that they can live present and be fully aware of right now and enjoying life beyond whatever they went through in the past. If you want to know more about me, you can actually go to www.liveforyoucoaching.com. That's www.liveforyoucoaching.com. That is the website. Currently being built more. There's things out there you can learn about stuff, but there's things that are being added. The site is under construction actively. I guess it's active, but it's actively under construction, if that makes any sense. Didn't make sense to me, but I get it now. And for those of you who just wants to follow me on a daily basis, who want to know what's going on in my life, who wants to kind of have a more impersonal engagement with me, you can actually follow me on social media at Dr. Larry Smith on both Instagram and on Facebook. That's Dr. Larry Smith, Instagram and on Facebook. So I was on Facebook, and of course, I'm reading through the comments and I'm reading different stories. Like I just read a story about Barack Obama having his 60th birthday party. Happy 60th birthday, President Obama. And there were people who were complaining about it being where he didn't wear a mask, and people who were there didn't wear masks, and yada yada yada, and so forth and such is life. And so people were calling it a super spreader event and all of this other stuff that people were saying. And it was really spoken out of ignorance, because the reality of it is I've gone places because I've slowly started to creep my way back out into the real world. I guess out into the outside world, as I've been inside and insular for the better of a year and some change. And so nowadays they're requiring in places like California, and I'm certain at Barack Obama's birthday party, they're requiring that you show proof of being vaccinated. You have to have either the slip that you are required to keep on you that you've been vaccinated, but in here in LA, it's been so sophisticated that you can actually snapshot a square reader, put your information in there, and it will send you via text proof of your vaccination so that you can show to get into whatever event that requires you to be vaccinated to get into. So it's very sophisticated, and I'm sure many states are going to, if they haven't already, implement that kind of process for people. Now, it's a very interesting concern I have with that sometimes, because there are people who are not vaccinated for certain reasons. Are they going to be discriminated against? I think about all of that. This is just stuff that just randomly runs through my mind. And I even said in response to one of the posts that, you know, when it comes to black people and Native American, given the history in this country and some of the things that has happened to us through genocides and vaccinations and experiments and yada yada yada, I understand our apprehension with the vaccine. Everyone else, not so much, but I understand our apprehensions in the vaccination, in getting the vaccination. Even though my personal opinion, this is just mine, I recommend the vaccines. And so, but my discussion today, and what I want to talk about, come here today to talk about is, you know, our tendency of following is a very strong tendency, right? We want to fit into whatever group we are trying to fit into, whether it's a political group, whether it's a religious group, whether it's just a social group, whether it's a family. We want to always fit in with those we want to be a part of their group. And so we do things in tandem to kind of follow the leader, so to speak, or follow the group thing. And a lot of this has been going on with the anti vaxxer movement and a lot of people not wanting to get vaccines. Our former president, the guy who was in office not that long ago before Joe Biden, made it known that he was against the vaccine and he didn't want to follow science and yada 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 and all that stuff, where behind closed doors he and many other people who were vocal about not getting the vaccine and so much were getting the vaccine, right? But telling people no. And those people were following what was said and not necessarily paying attention to what was being done. And so interestingly enough, what we're finding out now from the science and from other medical sources and whatever, is that the ones who are more susceptible to getting sick from COVID now, or those who are deeply more impacted by the Delta variant, which is a variant, which is an extension, a more contagious extension of the COVID thing, the pandemic thing, are people who are non-vaccinated. People who were believing the hype of what they were being told, following the leader, following the trend of what they were being told, instead of actually doing what was best for them, their family, those around them, or actually doing what was being done in front of them. You know, and it is kind of this idea of not being in your right mind, or not using your whole mind, but thinking kind of in trend and thinking in tandem of what other people want you to do instead of doing what's right for you. And so now it's turned out that us vaccinated people, because yes, I am vaccinated, and I think I shared that. I got the Moderna, and you know, I had some side effects on the second shot, but nothing life-threatening. Just kind of flu-like, I guess. But the point is, now we vaccinated people are protecting others. You know, but that's not to say we can't get the COVID, but we wear masks and we do all these things to protect them from getting a potential strand of COVID from us who are not having symptoms from it because we're vaccinated from it. And so now the mask mandates are more so like a protective measures for those who stubbornly refused, or those who selfishly refused, or those who, for whatever reason, refused to get the vaccination. And I think that that's a moment for us to come and understand our positions and who we are in life. Because many times what I have noticed, especially in modern times, is that people don't necessarily do things for other people willingly. It takes a lot, and in order to get over certain things like pandemics, like depressions, like certain situations, war-torn situations, or situations like that, natural disasters, it requires that everybody do their part for the good of us all, right? Not just for yourself, not just for your family, but for everybody. We all are willing to do our part for the good of the whole. But it has gotten so bad, and people have gotten so selfish and so self-centered in this Me Too generation. What about me too? What about me too? Generation, that people are not willing to do what common sense tells them to do for the common good of everybody around. And when you get to that place, you're in a precarious place. You're in a quite dangerous place, to be honest, because what happens when you really need your neighbor? What happens when you really need the person around you or next to you? And not to be biblical and all, but just to simply quote a Bible verse, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And so how are you loving thy neighbor if you're not even taking precautions to prevent yourself from getting sick with this situation that we're in? And a lot of the people that I've noticed in my investigations and reading and looking at social media, a lot of these people are professed Christians. People who profess to follow the teachings of Jesus, but are refusing to protect themselves and their neighbors from something that has killed over 600,000 people in a year. The evidence needs not to be proven anymore. In fact, it has gotten to the point to where people who were once on news stations and political people who were once telling people don't get the vaccine now are begging those same people that they told not to get the vaccine to get the vaccine. Herd mentality, following mentality, and now all of a sudden we have a change because science and just patterns are showing what the truth was. Because I'll be honest. I can be honest with my family here. I didn't want to take the vaccine. I waited until I watched other people around me and their reactions to it take it. I did not want to take it. And I'm a little apprehensive if I have to take another dose of it because I didn't like the feeling of the second dose. However, I said for the greater good of it all, I might as well go ahead and do it. And if there are adverse side effects of it, then that's cause for the game. I'm going to charge it to me doing what I needed to do for the greater good of us all. Not thinking of a herd mentality of following the leader when they're telling me to do something I shouldn't do, but thinking of the greater good of humanity, just doing my simple part from the world. This is why I have this channel. This is why I started Live For You Coaching. This is why I do what I do. This is why I teach, It's because I want to help people to live the best life that they had, or that they can have, or that they must have, or that they're obligated to have, or that it's just rightfully theirs to have. And so I think we need, as a people, to question our selfishness, question our me first mentality, question our desires to not do for other people, question how we treat our neighbors. I mean, literally, just the other day, I went to a restaurant, I'm ordering my food, and apparently the girl couldn't hear me through the drive-through window, and so I drove around, and I couldn't hear her, so I said, can you speak up? I said, because the traffic is loud. I said, that's probably what was preventing you from hearing me. Well, she just started yelling at me, blah, 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 and I'm like, this is customer service? I didn't give you a reason to yell. I wasn't rude. I was patient. I was kind. I was saying please and thank you, yes ma'am, and so forth. And you're talking to me as though I'm crazy. And I'm like, why are you yelling at me? So I kind of was like, you know what? I said, can I speak to a manager? I never got a manager. I got everybody else in the restaurant but the manager. And so I just decided I'll figure that part out of it later on. However, I went to another restaurant because I felt like you don't deserve my service if I don't deserve to be treated with some sort of dignity, especially if I'm not doing anything to give you a reason to not treat me in a dignified way. Now, like I said, whenever I go to restaurants or I deal with people who are in service, I go to stores, hospital, or whenever I deal with people who are working with others, I am generally super nice to those people for many reasons, My main reason is I understand that not everybody is nice. I understand because I've done it. I worked in fast food restaurants. I've worked in customer service on the phone. I've worked in those positions in which I've had to deal with people and have engagements and exchanges with people, and they haven't always been nice. And there have been some days when 98% of the engagements that I had with people on those days were just that tough, hard, difficult days that you just needed to go home and relax and chill out from what you had experienced at work that day. So in my brain, I feel as though that could be any moment from anybody that I'm engaging with in that type of capacity or that type of job. And so I intentionally put on the niceties. And it comes with its perks because sometimes you get extra stuff, sometimes you get good quality service, sometimes, people remember you and they treat you with respect and all those things. But there's a rare occasion like this past occasion I just talked about in which a person doesn't care if you're nice. It ain't about you. It's about them, where they are, and they are not going to receive anything from anybody at any moment because they're just in that space. And it's unfortunate because that is becoming more of a common experience in customer service and in other things than it has ever been in my lifetime. Now, I will say this vehemently, I will say this clearly and directly. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to continue being nice. I'm going to continue to be positive. I'm going to continue to be pleasant with dealing with these people because I'm not going to allow somebody else's bad day to ruin my character. This is my character, my integrity, and I plan on sustaining it because there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. But like I said, it goes back to the vaccines. It goes back to the notion of me first or me only or all of these ideas, Me Too also mentality, in which people just have nowadays. This selfishness, this herd mentality of selfish behavior. And I don't have the answer for it. I don't have the answer as to why we're in that place, in this time, in this space right now. But what I will say is that if that's not who you are, then don't change your character. Continue to be the nice person you are. Continue to be the cordial and respectful person and people thinking and group minded, bigger picture thinking person that you are. And if you're one of those people who happens to be one of those me too, me first, me only mentality people, then there's no time like the present to change. There's no time like the present to be better. You can be better. You are better than that. No one deserves that, not even you. So be better. The girl who was at the restaurant, and you know who you are, be better. Be better. Because it's not a reflection on anybody else but you. And when we take accountability for ourselves, we intentionally try to be better. So be better. Do better. Do better. And it didn't help the fact that she looked like me. She could have been my sister. She could have been my auntie, my cousin, a relative. That made it even worse to me because I'm like, at least give me the courtesy of this voyage, that middle passage that our ancestors went through, somehow got mingled up and mixed up. Give me the courtesy of having that love for family. It is what it is. So I just wanted to get on here and talk about that because it was weighing on my mind. I was reading social media, hearing the vaccination conversations. I'm a vaxxer. I got vaccinated. I'm not imposing it or forcing on anybody else. That's completely up to you. But when you do think about anything that you do, whether it's being vaccinated, whether it's driving in traffic, whether it's working in customer service, or whatever the hell you're doing, do it from a place of the whole. Because people, to quote Maya Angelou, Mariah Carey, to quote Maya Angelou, people won't remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. And along with that, hopefully I make you feel good and you continue to come back, because as I always say, I love you. I love you, love you, love you, love you with the love of Christ, love of God, love of Buddha, love of nature, love of everything grand. And I will see you in the next video.